On the program this morning, we're doing On the Trail to 600 Days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and we're looking at transportation in view. Now, in the next, how many days now? Make it about 6 days from now, the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu administration will be clocking exactly 600 days. And in this journey, there's a lot that has been put in perspective. Mr. Governor did promise you that he was going to be running on a 6-pillar agenda called Themes, and topmost on that agenda is transportation. And that's why today on the program, we're focusing on transportation to look at what has been done, what is yet to be done, and how we plan to go into 2021 with the vision that has been articulated courtesy of Mr. Governor. Who else is better suited to take us through this excursion other than the Honourable Commissioner for Transport in Lagos, Dr. Frederic Oladeinde. Nice to have you in the building. Good morning, sir.
Nice to have you too. Good
morning. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year to you, sir.
Same to you.
Great. All right, so before we actually dwell on the focus, which is trailing down 600 days of Mr. Governor, Honourable Commissioner, let's first zoom our lenses to reflect on the current situation. I understand from tomorrow, the Third Mainland Bridge will be having some major shifts in terms of the diversions within that corridor. Let's just run through that again. I know on Monday you were on this platform to talk about it, but let's help motorists that have been navigating through that corridor from Saturday. What's it going to be looking like, and what's the diversion point, or what's the arrangement?
Thank you for that question. So it's important to tell Lagosians that Third Mainland Bridge is not shut down totally. It's a partial lockdown. So it's still the same pattern as what we have currently. However, the change is that the diversion point from Adekunle will be moved about 2 kilometers towards Sanwo-Olu.
Okay.
So people going to Yaba from Third Mainland Bridge will not be able to do so, and so they will have to take Ikorodu Road. So from Sanwo-Olu, that diversion point, people will divert onto the other lane, and then they will proceed to the island. That's in the morning, from 12 midnight to 12 noon, and then you can then come back to the mainland from the island from 12 midday to 12 midnight. So it's still the same pattern. It's just that the people going to Yaba are the ones that are affected.
So
they would have to take Ikorodu.
Right. So for clearer understanding now, we're saying that from midnight, which is Friday, tomorrow,
that's correct.
People will not be able to descend Adekunle towards Yaba anymore.
Correct. They won't be able to do that for the next 2 weeks.
Good. So that diversion point is moved forward towards Sanwo-Olu.
That's correct.
So that people will be able to turn to the left by the time they get to that diversion point to connect to the other side of the Third Mainland Bridge and proceed towards the island.
So they're doing that 2 kilometers before Adekunle.
All right. Okay, so that's just the only shift there. It's not to say that the bridge is going to be closed.
No. It's a partial closure.
Because we're having people saying the bridge will be closed totally for 2 weeks and all of that. But we're saying now just a partial closure. And how long is this going to last? 2 weeks?
Well, this is for 2 weeks, so that we can meet the total deadline of opening the whole bridge on the 22nd of February.
So it's very, very near anyway. All right, so like you said, this is coming up from tomorrow, and I hope our Lagosians are taking note of this. The diversion, the traffic management arrangements during that period is very, very crucial, Honourable Commissioner. So what are we putting in place to ensure that people will have it much easier on Ikorodu Road, on Carter Bridge, and all those other areas?
So I know that the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, the agency, PwC, have been going out to make sure that palliatives are done, just to make sure that the roads are in motorable conditions. But the alternative still remains the same. So people from the island still have the option of going through, what's it called, Marine, going to Eko Bridge, and then connecting Fosha Williams and then Ikorodu Road. And then you still have the option of going through Oyingbo. But from Oyingbo, you have to now go to Jibu and then connect Ikorodu Road rather than going through Clinic Road and then connecting Third Mainland Bridge. So those options are still available to the public. The only option that we have shut down is the Adekunle junction.
Okay. All right. That seems quite appreciable, and I hope the traffic managers will be on ground. So
they will definitely be on ground. So last month, they're fully on ground. They've been doing a wonderful job, and but let me just continue to commend them and encourage them to do the wonderful work that they're doing.
All right. Let's transpose, and let's move from there and talk about what has been happening, especially as we look at 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Transportation-wise, how would you describe the journey so far so good?
The journey has been challenging, and I think we've made a lot of progress. And if you look at what's been done to date, we can categorize it in. I mean, we can put it in three categories.
Okay.
So the first one is to optimize the existing network. And what have we done in respect to that? So we have looked at the 60 gridlock points that have been identified by this administration.
Okay.
And we're beginning to put measures in place to unblock these gridlock points. So, for example, when you look at the major ones we've done, that's on Allen. You look at Lekki roundabout 1 and 2. You look at Abraham Adeson. You look at the Cotton roundabout as well as Maryland. So what we have done there is to reconfigure those junctions because the roundabouts themselves are saturated and can no longer accommodate the demand that approached the roundabout. So
right.
we have taken it out. We have increased the capacity.
Okay.
We've signalized and then synchronized also,
right.
just to make sure that we can reduce the delay at those junctions.
Right.
And then when you look at other parts of Lagos, we are beginning to put traffic lights, and our traffic lights are up to date. We're moving from this analog to what we call actuated, so it's more demand sensitive.
Okay.
And it responds to where the demand is. And so we've done about 31 junctions. You also go to Honourable. You know that in collaboration with the private sector, most of the junctions have been reconfigured.
Okay.
So that's just to optimize.
So is that part of the junction improvement project?
It is part of the junction improvement. So we're looking for, the private sector to also participate with government.
Okay.
Because government cannot do it all alone.
Right.
So it is part of it. So these are measures put in place to optimize what we have on ground. But the second one is the reform of the public transport sector.
System. Okay.
It's important to note that today we're about 22 million. In the next 15 years, we'll be about 35 million. And we can't continue to buy more cars. And the message here is that we cannot build ourselves out of congestion. So we have to find a sustainable way of moving people from one point to the other, and that's where the public transport sector will play a crucial part.
All right.
And what we're beginning to do is to modify the public transport sector. So the public transport, especially the bus sector the bus sector would have three categories.
Okay.
So the first one will focus on the expressways where you have your BRT. The rail will also play a role in that once we get it up and running.
Right.
So you have the mass movers at the major expressway level.
All right.
And then you have what we call the feeder routes. So these are the ones that comes from the minor roads. They're not residential, but minor roads. They are called collectors. And these will feed you, they will feed passengers to your BLT as well as the rail. This is where you see the likes of LBSL operating.
So you mean government has planned all of this?
Yes. We have a strategic transport master plan, which we're following for the next 20 years.
All right.
And then we have the last mile. Which will be coming on board in the next couple of weeks. So we
what do you call it? The last mile?
Yes. So they will take the role of the Okadas as well as the Keke Napep. So these are the ones that go into the community and then bring people out.
All right, the hinterland.
The hinterland. Yeah,
what kind of vehicles are you planning for this area?
So these are 11-seater buses that we will deploy. To go into the hinterlands and then bring people out. And so Lagos has been divided into 7 sectors,
okay.
And we will then franchise the zones actually based on the characteristics of the routes.
All right.
So there's a structured approach in which we want to use to run public transport. Apart from that, we're also reviving the water sector. So government has invested in a number of boats. Okay. Government is investing in the development of terminals.
All right.
We have 7 terminals that we're currently developing, and then we're doing a lot of dredging on major routes. And this is in an attempt to make water transport play a crucial role in the multimodal transport system.
And that's where I want to come in.
Developing for Lagos.
Yeah, because the transport policy in Lagos has always been to have an integrated multimodal transport system, which is going to be very, very efficient, affordable, and reliable as well. And from all indications, I know we've been doing this in bits over the years, but what is the government's plan to really integrate all of these modes for us to really have seamless movement from one location to the other?
That's a very important question. But before I say that, let me just say that the essence of the multimodal transport system is to give people options so that people are not captive to their cars or captive to downforce, so that people can have options. When one mode breaks down, you have the options of other modes.
All right.
So how do you integrate the various modes so that you can make them more attractive? And that's where the intelligent transport system comes in. So one of the things that we've deployed in the last I think 3 months now is what we call the common ticketing system. So this is a card that you can use on the various modes of transportation.
Right.
Okay, so in the past, people would pay for the various modes, individual modes that they use, and that makes transportation very expensive. But what we have moved towards right now is a card that which people can top up, and then you can swipe on the various modes of transport, and then you don't have to pay for the individual modes. It calculates.
Is that the Connect card?
That's the Cowrie card.
Oh, the Cowrie card.
It's the Cowrie card that we call it. And so once you know your origin and destination, it calculates that. So it doesn't calculate it based on the number of modes. It's based on the distance that you travel, and that will make transportation cheaper. And then apart from that, other integration parameters that we're looking at is the fact that the various modes of transport would submit their timetable to the regulator, LAMATA in this case.
Okay.
And so all the timetable will be integrated in such a way that the waiting time from one mode to the other will not be more than 5 minutes. And that's very important. And that's what will make public transport attractive. So when you have a situation where you go on a particular mode and then you have to wait about an hour before you now interchange. That kills the attractiveness.
So, but where are we with the intelligent transport system that you just talked about?
So we have deployed the Cowrie card. The Cowrie card is used on our BRT, especially the Abule-Egba to Oshodi.
Okay.
We're extending it to waterways. We're working extensively with Lasso and Lag Ferry, and that would be operational very soon. And then once the last mile comes on board, that will be operational too. And then when the rail comes on board also, we'll be able to deploy that.
Now, let me bring this... Okay, go ahead.
So there are various integration parameters that we have to look at.
Okay.
The other one is the location integration as well as information integration. So the information integration, let me just dwell a little bit on that.
All right.
So we have developed an app, and we'll continue to develop it further, where people can actually put in their origin and destination, and then that app works out the various options to get to your destination, and then it gives you the amount that you need to pay. So that people will be able to plan their journeys from home. And then we'll be able to time the journeys.
So once I get this app, I download it, and I can just decide, okay, if I'm going to Lekki from Agege, for instance, it tells me which option I can make use of.
It tells you which option. It will tell you which option. It will tell you the time that the train would arrive or the bus would arrive at the station, and then you can connect your various modes, and then you can time your journey. And that way you don't waste much time on the road, and that's important.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This morning we are on the trail to 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration, and we're looking at it from the pillar known as transport, that's traffic and transportation. And the Honourable Commissioner for Transport is right here with us. Dr. Frederic Oladeinde is taking us to the classroom on how it all works. Ikorodu Road is still appreciably good in terms of the movement from the inner part going through Golunto down to mile 12. But I have a report right now. Let me connect with that. Hello there.
Hello, good morning, Victor.
Yes, good morning.
Presently live at the bus stop in
Okay.
Where we have a accident that was caused by a yellow bus, a car, and a bus. Presently, the accident is like on that. This bus efforts has been made to get a towing van in order to evacuate the BLT away from the corridor so that we can have.
Now, let me find out where is the location that we are right now, Sadiq?
First, the towards Ikeja.
Okay, that's Force Base, Air Force Base.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. All right, then. Thank you very much.
All right. That was
Okay, then. So he says an accident and efforts on to get it off as quickly as possible. That's from our roving reporter, our live motorbike reporter on the road there, serving that update from his location. All right, we did talk about Third Milan Bridge, good from the entry point. But of course, by the time you approach Adekunle in Adeniji, it slows down a bit. Beyond that point, it gets much faster. Obalende, CMS, all that corridor still looking good for now. Honourable Commissioner, let's get to the issue of the rail, which you mentioned not too long ago. Mm-hmm. The Blue Line has been in construction for more than 10 years now, and people are wondering, when are we going to have this delivered to Lagosians for use?
Well, for this administration, it's actually a priority. We are promising to deliver it in 2022, and I think we all know some of the issues. Lagos is the only city in the world that is building its own rail line without the help of the federal government, and that's a challenge. However, we have put together some very creative and innovative ways of funding the rail, and we will deliver the Blue Line as well as the Red Line in 2022.
Both lines?
Both lines.
Ah.
So for the Blue Line, we will deliver the section from Mile 2 to Marina, and then for the Red Line from Agbado to Oyingbo.
All right. Is it going to be different from what you have right now? Because at the moment, the one which is being championed by the government, right, Lagos-Ibadan Express, that's the Lagos-Ibadan rail corridor. It's called the standard rail gauge. Is that the same thing that you are going to be operating with the Red Line, for instance?
Yes, we are using the standard gauge. So the Red Line would operate on the same corridor as the Lagos to Ibadan. So we're going to be sharing the track to a certain extent, and then from Oyingbo. From Ibutimeta, Lagos would then have its own track.
So it's not to say that you're going to be laying your own fresh tracks?
Well, for that section, we're not going to be laying the track apart from the side tracks where we can deviate into our own stations to pick up people and to drop.
All right.
So there's just going to be a little bit of modification, but we're going to be sharing the track majorly from Agbado all the way to Ibutimeta. And that makes it much more cheaper for us.
All right. And what about the Blue Line from Mile 2? You said to Marina.
So from Mile 2 to Marina, when you look at the fixed infrastructure, I think we're about 90% done. So we've gone over the bridge, and then so we're just connecting to Marina. And what we'll have left is the electricals, as well as developing the rolling stock.
All right. Is it also a standard rail gauge, or?
Yeah, we're going for standard. Nobody is a single gauge anymore.
Okay. But is there any difference between that and what's been done? People do talk about electric trains and all of that. Is that what Lagos is deploying with the Blue Line?
Well, we're deploying electric, but for the Red Line, we will go with the diesel because that's what the federal government is deploying, and so to get immediate access and then to use it to immediately use that track, we have to go with diesel. But for the Blue Line, it's going to be electric, so it's EMU.
All right.
And over time, we'll find a way of electrifying the Red Line.
Okay.
It's much more environmentally friendly, and it's part of our sustainable development goal.
Wonderful. All right, Honourable Commissioner, a lot of times, and I know that this question is taking you back to where we started from, which is the issue of tackling traffic gridlocks across Lagos. A lot of times, lots of interventions have been brought in place, but in spite of that, you have the build-ups here and there, except for now that we're starting 2021, it appears to be on a very good note. We've not really had the usual build-ups, but the months leading to the end of the year 2020, we had a very, very thick in terms of gridlocks, October, November, all through that time. And people do wonder what causes this and how come Lagos is unable to really overcome this issue of gridlocks.
Okay, I think we're going to speak the truth to ourselves here. So, apart from the constructions that we've embarked on just to make sure that most of our roads are motorable. So we have constructions in Amadou Bello, we have construction in Mile 2, Ojota, construction going on Third Mainland Bridge, construction going on in Apapa, major construction going on Apapa, Owoloshoki Expressways. All these are enough to choke a city, but Lagos has been able to survive because of the traffic management plans that we've put in place. But let's even go deeper. More people have come into Lagos in the last 1 year than ever before. This is as a result of maybe other failed states in Nigeria.
Right.
So Lagos is continuing to absorb a lot of people. And so when you have the sheer number of people that we have had to cope with coming to your city, you will feel that pressure. And that's why I said initially that there's no way Lagos is going to build itself out of congestion, and that's why it's important, and that's why we're putting more emphasis on the public transport network.
All right.
Because that's the only way we can move people sustainably from one point to the other.
Okay.
More people will continue to come and do business in Lagos. A lot of people are leaving other states due to one reason or the other, insecurity, not much employment opportunities in other states. And Lagos is having to absorb them. But unfortunately, Lagos is not a state. It's not a country, and so it cannot control its borders.
All right.
And so these are some of the issues that we have to deal with, and that's why public transport is our number one focus for now.
Let's get to some of the technical areas and operational issues now that relates to transport in the state. I know you relate to most of the unions. We have lots of unions that also are within the transport sector in Lagos. What's the relationship that the ministry, what relationship do you have with them? NURTW, RITIAN and others. What kind of relationship?
Well, we are a kind of regulator to these people. So we have a discussion or meetings where we agree on their mode of operation. And when you look at the reform also, we're talking to them, we're asking them to form cooperatives so that they can be part of the new reform system. So we talk about how we can improve transportation, how we can even make their members' life better, and how we can how we can upscale or modify their current the downfall mode, etc. Because when you look at this 21st century of smart city initiative, downfalls does not fit into that structural format.
Right.
So we're looking. We're constantly talking to them as to how they can become much more of a cooperative, and how we can restructure them so that their lives can be better, Lagosians can enjoy their mode of transport, and they can move seamlessly from one point to the other. Those are the kind of discussions that we're having with them.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. A brief break. When we return, we'll talk about the transformation of some of the agencies under transportation. Mr. Commissioner will talk about that as well as we project into these 600 days, some of the achievements, and what is the ministry doing to also ensure that going forward in 2021, what are some of the new things that will be achieved in the transport sector? All that and much more, still part of the program. Keep it locked on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. We'll connect with you very, very shortly, and then you can also have your say on the program as well. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM on the trail to 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. It's what we're reflecting on, especially from the perspective of transportation. Of course, it occupies a big part of the theme's agenda, the number one pillar, and that's why we have the Honourable Commissioner taking us on this beautiful excursion this morning as he talks to us about what has been achieved and what we are going to be doing, especially as we head into 2021 and 2022. He's talking about the blue line and the red line. All these are some of the projects which Mr. Governor is going to be delivering in the next 12 to 24 months. But let's quickly look through some of your agencies under transportation, Honourable Commissioner. What has it looked like in these 600 days? What are the reforms that you brought in when we talk about those agencies? You mentioned some of those agencies, by the way.
Okay, so we have a number of agencies under the Ministry of Transportation, and we have been reforming some of them. So, for example, LASWA, which is responsible for water transportation. They focus on regulating water transport as well as safety on the road. And there's been a lot of policies that have been developed along that area. So that's their focus. Lag Ferry has come on board to actually focus on the operations of water transportation. And they have been investing in a number of boats. And obviously, we have had to license a number of terminals so that they can operate and then pick people and then drop people at those various terminals. So LASWA and Lag Ferry work hand in hand, and they've been working collaboratively over the last 18 months. We also have LAMATA, that is responsible for the regulation of the public transport modes, that's road transportation as well as rail. And then they've been responsible for developing infrastructure to ensure that public transport is adequate and is up to, it's well modernized.
All right.
We have the Motor Vehicle Agency responsible for driver's license and
the vehicle licenses.
Yeah, and other vehicle particulars that are required.
Right.
Under the Ministry of Transport, we have what we call the VIS. These are the people that ensure that your road is, your is roadworthy, and to make sure that we don't have rickety cars on the road.
Right.
And they also check to make sure that people have the right documents so that we can ensure that the right people are actually driving on our roads. We have LBSL, that's the Lagos Bus Services Limited. This is now the operating arm of Lagos State for the buses. So they are operating buses. In the past, they used to, they ventured into regulation, but that has been modified. So they focus more on providing a quality service to our passengers.
Right.
So they also have a number of depots, etc., that they maintain, but their main operation is to ensure that the buses run on key routes.
Okay.
Other routes, other agencies include LASRI.
Okay.
LASRI is responsible for ensuring that our public transport drivers are well trained, they have good eyesight, they're certified before they actually get behind the wheel. And this is part of the reform that we're driving. So everybody, when you look at the people that drive the downfalls, etc., sometimes you wonder how they got a license.
That's right.
So what LASRI is doing is to ensure that as we bring in the new buses, the people that will drive those buses have to be trained. They're properly trained and they have to be certified.
Oh, good. Then you have number plates authority? So
we have the number plates authority. They actually produce the number plates. You will notice that at some point we were having some fake number plates, and then number plates that were fading. So they have come in and they have standardized the whole process.
All right.
We have LASMA.
LASMA. We kind of forget our partners. LASMA. Okay, so
LASMA, that's the enforcement, traffic enforcement arm of Lagos State. So they're responsible for ensuring that traffic flows freely.
Okay.
From one point to the other.
And I know Mr. Governor did a lot in terms of building capacity for them. And
oh, yes, definitely.
Okay. All right, let's connect with the public this morning. I know lots of people would like to talk to you on the program, even as we trail 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. It's time to hear from you on the program, 0809-912-0777. We have limited time left, so let's see if we can put all the calls together and have your say on the program this morning. Hello there.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Rashid.
Rashid, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Anthony now. An accident just occurred. A container just fell down at immediately after Maryland.
Okay.
So in fact, just saved like 3 people now. The container almost fell on them.
Okay.
The response team should go there now before the traffic start building up.
All right, then. Thank you very much for that, Rashid.
Okay.
Okay, so the responders, emergency responders, talking about LASEMA. You can help us get to that scene. LRU, your attention is needed. It says immediately after Maryland, a fallen container that's on that particular corridor, that's on Ikorodu Road. Let's see how we can salvage that situation. But if you want to talk to the commissioner, connect with us. Hello there.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
What's your name?
My name is Tunji Akoni.
All right, Tunji. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Yanakwaja.
All right, let's have you quickly.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. I quite appreciate the explanation by the commissioner. But the areas that I want him to look into is the nuisance being caused by the yellow buses, especially at along. Sometimes, except from during this holiday period, from Bolade to along, we will be in a fix. And by the time you get there, you discover that the Danfo driver, the Marua driver, all of them, they will block the road and make it to be one lane. So I think they should look at that. The government is trying by creating roads, but the inability of the people to enforce the law.
Oh, we have a drop call. But you made a point. Thank you so much for that, Tunji Akoni. Let's see if we can sneak in some more before we take some of those on social media. 08099120777. Good morning.
Hello.
What's your name?
Hello. My name is Ekweme. I'm a pastor.
Okay, Pastor Ekweme.
Yes.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Patricia, Moloni.
Moloni. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I said I love what people are doing concerning the edition, but our appeal to the Honourable Commissioner that about the road traffic, they should do more. Though what the Honourable Governor is doing is fine, but they should do more because people are still going to walk from this side of Lagos State, Agri side, Bulomi side, they are going to Lagos Island. So that this traffic, it should be, even the government buses, there will be no much go slow. So people are stuck. One day, a relation of mine was coming, they trek all the way from, they trek a long distance before they get to...
Okay, so you wanted to do more on road transportation, right?
Yes, they really improve it.
Okay,
that is why when you go to other African countries, I've been in some African countries, but I've not been to Europe.
All right.
Go to that place. That's one of the things that make it to be more developed. You want to get to a place in 30 minutes time, for 5 minutes time, you can get there.
Okay, all right.
You cannot say, I'm going to see somebody at Yaba and go to the family.
Okay, then we're taking note of that. Thank you so much. Let's allow some others. Predictability of time. He wants the government to do more in that area. Okay, I thought the commissioner was hinting about the ITS, integrated, that's intelligent transport system. But let's hear from you. 08099120777. Hello there.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I would appreciate the Honourable Commissioner.
What's your name?
I'm calling from the airport route.
Okay, Paul.
Now, the Commissioner, they've tried a lot for Lagos State. And in my own concern in the area of enforcement of traffic laws.
Okay.
The major cause of traffic in Lagos has to do with these commercial buses and pedestrians. Lagos State have tried so much to build wonderful bridges. But funny enough, none of these people uses this bridge. And at the end, in the process of crossing the express or the route, it caused a lot of traffic. Then, another area is this bus stop. They don't use majority of these wonderful bus stops that the Lagos State government has built. The bus drivers, they prefer stopping maybe a few meters away from the bus stop. And that's where you see a lot of commuters. Meanwhile, the main bus stops are empty. So we will appreciate more of enforcement if they can get rid of these people. Let them be at the bus stop. Let the buses park. Go into the bus stop and pick your passengers.
Okay.
Then let the pedestrians make use of these wonderful bridges.
Right.
I think it will have to read the traffic grid in Lagos. I also want to appreciate Traffic FM. They are really doing a wonderful work.
Okay, then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. All right. Paul also making his point. Enforcement is key. We're sneaking one more before we, take the ones that have been loaded on our social media this morning. 08099120777. Good morning. Hello. Okay, that's a dropped call. Yes, if you can get that in 15, 20 seconds, then we will just, call it a day for the calls. 08099120777. We are talking 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and looking at it from the perspective of transportation. Hello. Hello. Okay, that's a weak connection. Correct, let's just look through some of the messages that has been dropping in on our social media. What do we have?
All right, got one on WhatsApp. We've got a couple on WhatsApp. It says, good morning. I have a suggestion for the Lagos State government to ease Lagos-bound traffic on Third Mainland Bridge during this partial closure. It is a 14-year-old idea from last closure. Can I please have the commissioner's number or email address from Deji?
Okay, all right. Deji, there will be ways that the commissioner, you'll be able to communicate with the commissioner. Any other message there?
Yes, good morning, Victor and the Honourable Commissioner. The intelligence in transport system will only work with enforcement. For example, if unauthorized users still have access to BRT corridors, such as Okada riders, private motorists, and downfall drivers do unchallenged, the whole structure and policy will eventually crash.
Okay, then.
That is from Ola. And lastly, good morning, Victor. Thanks for the good works of His Excellency Mr. Governor and the Honourable Commissioner for Transportation. My question is that what is Lagos doing about parking? Do we have a strategic parking plan and model for Lagos? That is from Adekpoju.
Let's hold it down there because I know there will be more. But Honourable Commissioner, let's begin to take this home this morning. And I would like you to tackle from the last question about parking. Is there a parking policy for Lagos State?
Yes, there is a parking policy, and even this year, we were going to sneak it in last year, but as a result of the NSAS, we've had to move a lot of our programs. So we are setting up a parking agency, a parking authority that will be responsible for implementing the parking policy. So we have a parking policy in place. Okay. We have an agency that is coming up, and then we'll be able to centralize our parking using technology.
All right. Then
so this is something that we are very much aware of.
And I'm sure you'll be able to come to the radio by the time this is going to be taken up.
Definitely.
All right. So, Deji wants to communicate with you. How is he going to do that?
Well, all commissioners' numbers are available on the website.
Okay. All right. Deji, you can search for that. And you can also go to the ministry and ask for the PRO, the Public Affairs Officer there. I'm sure you'll be able to take your concerns. Pastor Ekweme is commending you, but wants the governor to do more on road transportation. I think you've tackled that earlier on as well.
Yeah, I think we'll continue to do more on road transportation. We are beginning to unblock a lot of our gridlock points. As I've said, we've identified 60, we've tackled 31, we still have 29 to tackle. So, and then once all the constructions on the once we begin to ease the construction on the roads like Third Mainland Bridge, Apapa-Wuru-Shoki, I think things will get back to normal.
All right, so Paul is worried about enforcement of traffic laws. He really wants the government to do much more, especially when we talk about enforcing the law itself. What are you guys going to be doing differently in 2021?
I think that's a fantastic question, and it's something that I wanted to talk about. So with regard to enforcement of our traffic laws, we are now deploying technology. We want to limit the interaction between our officers and then people on the road. Okay. So, for example, we have deployed what we call the automated number plate recognition.
Right.
And so these are able to pick up the plate numbers of offenders, especially people who don't have the right papers, and then we can then run it against our database, and then we'll then send a ticket to the offender's address and then get them arrested if they don't comply.
Right.
The other one that we're going to be deploying in the next 1 month is what we call the handheld camera sets. So these are going to be given to LASMA. And so, gone are the days where LASMA had to stop a car because they jumped the traffic light. So all they need to do is just take a picture, make sure that they get the plate number, and then we run it against our database. And that's why a lot of focus has been placed on developing our database, making sure that the data that we have is adequate. So the technology is going to play a key role in our enforcement. On the BLT lanes, etc., we're going to have cameras. And so we're gradually moving towards a smart city structure where we have cameras at strategic points, and then we're able to catch offenders, and so there will be nowhere to hide.
All right. So that means that lots of expectations, lots of hope for the year 2021.
Oh, definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
we have to round it off at this point. Honourable Commissioner, it's nice having you on this trail to 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Okay, so that's how it has been. And of course, you heard some of the major things that will be happening, especially in transportation. And those that have happened as well, most of the developments which Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is bringing to bear on the state and, of course, the Center of Excellence. You've heard all of that on the program this morning. And this continues all through to next week. So watch out on all our interactive programs. You'll be having a diary of what has gone down in 600 days with Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. But we have to go now. Thank you so much, Korede Bamishile, for producing the program. Maximum thanks to Bolanle Ogunlola, who is the Assistant Director, Public Affairs, Ministry of Transportation, for making this very possible. Thank you so much for this. And to our social media team, Kaidema Folasheri, Philip Akinwara, and of course, Mubo Salah Kasali. Tayo Akonle is our executive producer. My name is Victor Oteri. I leave you with the words of George Bernard Shaw. He says, progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Till tomorrow, have a splendid day. Bye.